Good morning, people of God. It's a wonderful time to share this knowledge with you, and it's about the end time. You want to stay tuned and you want to pay rapt attention because it is about you and I. The world is truly coming to an end, and you would want to take opportunity to watch this video about the river Euphrates that is drying up. Child of God, it's a serious matter. It's a serious matter. And you want to pay attention to some of these details that concern the end time. And the Bible says in the book of Revelations chapter 16, the verse 12. And I want to read that to you. Revelation 16, the verse 12. And it's about the end time. And I want to touch on certain things that we should know and be doing when we are in this time. Revelation 16, the verse 12. And when the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, and the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. So the Bible talks about the fact that the Euphrates River will dry up when it is the end time. And child of God, as I speak to you, the river Euphrates has dried up. And it's a beautiful phenomenon. Everybody's talking about it. It's all over the world. It's in all news. You need to check it out. And this is not just happening for happening's sake. It's a message that is coming to you and I that we are truly at the end time and Jesus is coming soon. There's something about this text that I want to open your eyes to. The Bible says that the drying up of the river Euphrates opens up and prepares the way for the kings of the east. Who are the kings of the east? Do you know that for a very long time, it is just the West that has been taking all initiatives concerning the world? Most of the powerful initiatives concerning the world had come from the Americas or from the Europe. And the East, that is Asia, that China, Japan, India, all these other nations have been very dormant for quite some time until recently. We see a mass exodus of the people from the East all over the world. We see them in Ghana, we see them in Nigeria, all over Africa. We see them in Namibia, we see them everywhere. We see them even in Europe. The East is now coming into the action. What is this telling you and I? It is the end time. Child of God, it is the end time. And the drying up of the river Euphrates that has allowed the East to now come into the picture has also allowed the powers of the East to come with it. What are the powers of the East? The powers of the East is control. The East wants total control. That is what happens when the East is in play. Total dominion, total control. Now, we need to position ourselves rightly as children of God, because as we are waiting for the second coming of Christ, we will have to also understand the economics, the play that is going on. We also understand the politics that is going on. We also need to understand the timings, the seasons, what is happening all around us, so we can benefit. Child of God, you need to really pay attention to this detail. Listen to me, child of God. You need to connect not just to the people of the West, but now also connect to the people of the East. The East is the place to go now. The East is the place to do business now. The East is the place to associate now. Yeah, you need to get there. They are the kings that are coming into the wealth now. They are now coming to Africa. They are establishing schools in Africa. They are teaching Chinese in Africa now, Japanese in Africa. Now industries are coming into Africa that has its root all from the East. And that is a very big highlight, and we need to pay attention to it. As Africans, we cannot just overlook it. We need to pay attention. Now, why all of a sudden the East is now trooping into Africa? Now, when the East gets involved in anything, as I told you before, when they get involved in anything, they want total control. Now, if somebody wants total control, it's two things: either you give it to the person or they take it by force. So two things are going to happen. With the drying up of the river Euphrates, which is the sign of the end time, and the opening up of the gateway for the kings of the East to come into the wealth and to take over the wealth, what is going to happen is that it's either you are going to willingly give it to them or it's going to be by force. You're going to give it to them by force, and this is not good. This is not good if you are not rightly positioned. How will that affect our church? How will that affect the nation Ghana? How will that affect the people Africa, the black race? How will that affect people all over the world? How will it affect people? It will affect us if we are not prepared, if we are not ready, if we are not in the trading business, if we are not in the politics business, if we keep doing petty politics and not really look at details on the ground, we are going to allow these people also to now rule over us just as the West did rule over us. Child of God, it is a battle and it is going to remain for a very long time. If we lose control as Africans, if we lose control as Ghanaians, then we are in trouble. But there is an advantage. What is that advantage? Though the river Euphrates has dried up and has opened up the way for the East to now come into every part of the world, it has also given those of us who are in this part of the world to connect to the right people. Not everybody coming from the East is a bad person. Not all the kings coming from the East want to take control over you. Some come to connect to you. Some have come to help. Some have come to help build your companies. Some have come to help industrialize companies, reform companies, change ways at which things were being done. Infrastructure is going to change. Manufacture is going to change. Industries are going to change. There's going to be a wide range of change, and we need to be ready as a people. We need to be ready mentally. We need to be ready psychologically. We need to be ready physically. We need to be ready spiritually. We need to be ready. We need to understand who we are as a people. Then so that we'll be able to accept those coming from the East. I don't think it's an all bad thing that is going to happen in this end time. I really believe that if we can rightly position ourselves, we will benefit from the influx of the kings of the East. Child of God, we are in the end time. The river Euphrates has dried up. The kings of the East are coming. Let us prepare and take advantage. I'll see you again on this same subject next time. Bye-bye. This is Glorious TV. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Share, comment, like. Be part of this flow. You are blessed.